The day the Vexari ships appeared in Earth's sky changed everything. They came without warning. 5 massive vessels hovering silently over major cities across the globe. Humans panicked at first, but the aliens made no hostile moves. Instead, they requested to speak with Earth's leaders. Dr. Alan Grant watched the first transmission from the White House lawn. As Earth's leading xenobiologist, he had prepared his whole life for this moment, though nothing could truly prepare anyone for meeting beings from another world. "They look almost disappointed," whispered Captain Olivia Wright, the military liaison assigned to the science team. The tall, dark-haired woman stood rigidly beside him, her eyes never leaving the main Vexari ship. The aliens were tall, slender beings with bluish skin that seemed to shimmer under Earth's sun. Their 4 eyes blinked independently of each other as they studied the humans around them. "We have traveled far to find developing worlds," the Vexari ambassador announced through a translation device. "We share knowledge with promising species." For 3 months, the Vexari established cultural exchange centers where they shared glimpses of their advanced technology. Dr. Grant worked tirelessly at the North American Center, absorbing everything he could. The aliens showed humans their faster-than-light travel theories, energy production methods, and material science, but always held back the most crucial details. "They're treating us like children," Captain Wright complained one evening as she and Grant examined a small piece of Vexari metal alloy they had been given. "Showing us toys, but not letting us play with them." Grant nodded. "They clearly think we're primitive. But even these small samples could advance our technology by decades." Then, without warning, the Vexari announced their departure. "Your species requires further development before meaningful alliance," the ambassador stated coldly at the final meeting. "We will return when you have advanced sufficiently." Their departure was as sudden as their arrival. The massive ships rose silently into the clouds and vanished. But they left something behind, seemingly by accident, or perhaps because they considered it worthless. Containers of broken technology parts at each exchange center. "It's mostly damaged components," said Grant as he examined the materials left at the North American Center. "Parts from various systems that they probably considered trash." The United Nations quickly formed an international coalition to study the alien remnants. Scientists and military personnel from around the world gathered at a new facility built in Nevada, away from prying eyes. "Even their scraps are beyond our understanding," said Diane Powell, a brilliant engineer assigned to Grant's team. Her fingers traced the unusual contours of a twisted piece of metal. "But I think this was part of a power distribution system." Captain Wright watched from across the lab. "Can we use any of it?" Grant lifted a small cube with strange markings and circuitry visible beneath its transparent surface. "That's the question, isn't it? They gave us just enough to see how far ahead they are, but not enough to catch up." 3 months after the Vexari left, Grant made his first breakthrough. Late one night, he discovered that 2 supposedly unrelated components reacted to each other when placed in proximity. The energy readings spiked in patterns that suggested an underlying design. "Olivia, look at this," he called to Captain Wright, who had become a regular presence in his lab. "These aren't random parts. They're connected somehow." Wright leaned over the display, her expression thoughtful. "You think they left these on purpose?" "No," Grant said slowly. "I think these are parts they considered useless, but together, they might be something more." As they watched, the alien metals began to glow faintly, responding to each other's presence in ways that defied Earth's scientific understanding. "Whatever the Vexari left us," Grant said quietly, "I don't think they knew what humans could do with scraps." Wright nodded, her eyes reflecting the gentle pulsing light. "Then let's show them." 5 years passed since the Vexari had left Earth. The Nevada Research Facility had grown into a sprawling complex, now called the Phoenix Center. Scientists from around the world worked day and night to understand the alien technology. Dr. Alan Grant's hair had gone gray at the temples. He stood at the main lab window, watching engineers test a small power cell derived from Vexari technology. Another successful test, said Diane Powell, joining him at the window. The brilliant engineer had become essential to the project, her mind uniquely suited to bridging the gap between human and alien tech. This one lasted 14 hours longer than the previous version. Grant nodded. We've learned more in 5 years than I thought possible, but we're still just scratching the surface. The door slid open as Captain Olivia Wright, now Colonel Wright, entered with a stern-looking man in a military uniform. "Dr. Grant, meet Colonel Frank Martinez," Wright said. "He's joining us from the Pentagon." Colonel Martinez had a square jaw and watchful eyes. He didn't smile as he shook Grant's hand. "I've read your reports, Doctor. Impressive work." "Thank you," Grant replied, sensing there was more to this visit. "Show him," Wright said to Powell. Powell led them to a secure room where 3 metal tables held what appeared to be broken alien machinery. "Last month, we realized something important. These aren't random pieces of different systems. They're components of weapons, propulsion, and defense technology." Martinez leaned closer. "Are you saying the Vexeri left us military technology?" "Not intentionally," Grant explained. "They left broken parts they considered useless. But we've discovered these pieces share common design elements. They're meant to work together." Powell tapped on a tablet, bringing up a holographic display. "This is what we call the Phoenix Project. We believe we can reverse engineer enough of this technology to create working systems." Colonel Martinez studied the display. "Can it be weaponized?" Wright and Grant exchanged looks. This question had caused tension between them for years. "That's why you're here, isn't it?" Grant asked. "The military wants weapons. I'm here because Earth needs to defend itself," Martinez replied firmly. "If the Vexeri return, we need to be ready." Powell cleared her throat. "We've created something you should see." She led them to a testing chamber where a small device sat on a platform. It didn't look impressive, just a metal cube with glowing blue lines. "Our first successful energy source," Powell said proudly. "It produces 10 times more power than our best nuclear reactors, and it's the size of a coffee mug." Martinez's eyes widened. "This changes everything." "There's more," Wright added. "Show them the signal, Diane." Powell brought up another display showing a wave pattern. 2 weeks ago, our deep space monitors detected this. It's identical to signals the Vexeri ships sent when they were here." A heavy silence fell over the room. "They're watching us," Grant said finally. "Or coming back," Martinez added. "How quickly can you develop this technology into something useful?" Before Grant could answer, a young engineer named Kyle Summers burst into the room. His excitement was visible even from across the room. "Dr. Grant, we did it." He held up a small tube with swirling energy inside. "The propulsion concept works." The test model achieved 50% light speed in the simulation. Grant looked at the faces around him. Powell's pride, Wright's determination, Martinez's calculating gaze, and Summers' excitement. In 5 years, they had gone from studying alien scraps to creating technologies humans had only dreamed of. "Colonel," Grant said finally, "I think it's time we combined our efforts. If the Vexeri are coming back, we need to show them humanity isn't as primitive as they thought." Martinez nodded. "I'll inform Washington that the Phoenix Project is now top priority." As they left the room, Grant glanced back at the alien fragments. What the Vexeri had discarded as worthless might just save humanity, or change it forever. The emergency meeting was called at 3 a.m. Dr. Alan Grant rubbed his tired eyes as he hurried through the Phoenix Center's long corridors. When he reached the command room, he found Colonel Martinez already there, staring at large screens showing space images. "What happened?" Grant asked, joining Colonel Wright at the main table. "Our deep space satellites picked this up 2 hours ago," Wright said, pointing to a blurry image. "It's a Vexeri scout ship, hiding near Neptune." Grant felt his heart race. "They're watching us." "No," Martinez corrected, his voice hard. "They're studying us. like scientists observing lab rats. The door opened as Diane Powell rushed in with Kyle Summers close behind. They both looked like they had dressed in a hurry. "Is it confirmed?" Powell asked. "Are they really back?" Martinez nodded. "The energy signature matches their ships exactly. No doubt about it." The United Earth Defense Council had been formed 3 years earlier, when governments finally accepted that humanity needed to prepare for the aliens' return. Now, representatives from 12 nations joined the meeting through secure video links. "The Vexari abandoned us because they thought we were primitive," Martinez told the council. "But what if they come back to find we've advanced too quickly? What if they see us as a threat?" An uncomfortable silence followed. Then the Chinese representative spoke up. "What evidence do we have that they mean us harm?" In answer, Grant shared a file on everyone's screens. "We found this in the Vexari data fragments. It's incomplete, but our linguists have translated enough. The Vexari have a pattern. They find developing worlds, share limited technology, then return later." "Return for what purpose?" asked the Russian representative. Grant hesitated. "The data suggests they either form alliances with species that developed in ways they approve of, or they eliminate potential competitors." The room fell silent again. Kyle Summers, the young engineer who had helped develop the propulsion system, stood up. His hands shook slightly, but his voice was steady. "We've been studying these fragments separately," he said. "Propulsion here, power systems there, weapons somewhere else. But what if we're missing the point? What if these pieces were meant to work together?" Powell looked at him sharply. "You mean build a single integrated platform? Combine all the technologies?" "Exactly," Summers replied. "Not just reverse engineer their tech, but combine it in ways they might never have considered. If every piece is part of a whole, let's build that whole." Colonel Martinez leaned forward, suddenly interested. "A weapons platform? A ship?" "Both," Summers said. "Something that incorporates everything we've learned. A vessel that could stand up to Vexari technology." Dr. Grant had always resisted weaponizing the alien technology, but the scout ship lurking in their solar system changed things. If the Vexari returned as conquerors, humanity would need every advantage. It would take enormous resources, Wright cautioned. The council members looked at each other through their screens. After a moment, the American representative spoke. "If there's even a small chance the Vexari mean us harm, we need to be ready." The United States supports this project. One by one, the other nations agreed. The vote was unanimous. As the meeting ended, Powell approached Grant. "I've been working on something that might help," she said quietly. "An interface system that could allow human operators to control hybrid alien-human technology." Grant looked at her with surprise. "How long have you been developing this?" "Since I first suspected the Vexari might not be the friendly visitors they pretended to be," she replied. Later that night, as Grant looked at the stars from his office window, a message from Deep Space Monitoring appeared on his screen. More signals were being detected, moving toward the solar system. They were coming, and humanity had to be ready. "If they left us scraps," Grant whispered to himself, "we'll show them what humans can build from leftovers." The lunar surface was cold and quiet, except for the massive underground facility that hummed with constant activity. 6 months after the emergency council meeting, humanity's greatest engineering project was underway in a secret base on the far side of the moon. Dr. Alan Grant stepped out of the elevator into the main construction bay and paused, still amazed by the sight before him. A massive ship was taking form, sleek, unlike any human vessel before it. Workers in suits moved around its hull like ants, while robotic arms fitted panels into place. "Impressive, isn't it?" Diane Powell appeared beside him. Dark circles under her eyes showed she had been working through the night again. "We're calling it the Reclaimer." "Appropriate." Grant nodded. "Taking back what was left behind." They'd walked together toward the control center overlooking the construction. Through the windows, they could see Colonel Wright directing operations with her usual precision. "How's the integration coming along?" Grant asked. Powell sighed. "It's challenging. Human and alien technology weren't meant to work together. It's like trying to connect modern computers to ancient stone tablets." She pulled up schematics on her tablet. "But we're making progress." In the testing bay next door, Lisa Rodriguez was preparing for another simulation. The test pilot had been selected from thousands of candidates for her exceptional neural plasticity and rapid decision-making skills. Rodriguez settled into the neural interface chair as technicians attached sensors to her flight suit. "Beginning simulation test 47, she announced. As the simulation began, Rodriguez closed her eyes. The neural interface, Powell's groundbreaking creation, allowed her to control the ship's systems with her thoughts. But today, something felt different. "I'm getting feedback," Rodriguez said, her brow furrowing. "The ship is responding differently." In the observation room, Powell leaned forward, watching the readings with intense focus. "The alien materials are reacting to her neural patterns. This shouldn't be happening. The system isn't fully integrated yet." Grant studied the data streaming across the screens. "The materials are adapting. They're learning from her." The simulation continued for 30 minutes, with Rodriguez reporting increasingly precise control. When it ended, she emerged from the chamber looking shaken but excited. "It was like the ship was helping me," she explained as medical staff checked her vital signs. "Like it knew what I wanted before I did." Later that evening, Grant worked alone in his lab, examining a small piece of the alien metal. Under high magnification, he could see subtle changes in its structure, changes that weren't there the day before. "You're doing more than we programmed you to do," he whispered to the sample. Colonel Martinez entered without knocking. "Progress report says we're ahead of schedule." Grant nodded. "The alien materials have adaptive properties we didn't fully understand before. They're responding to human creativity in ways I don't think the Vexari ever experienced." "Is that good or bad?" Martins asked bluntly. "Good for us," Grant replied. "I think the Vexari are logical, methodical. Humans are messy, intuitive. We're using their technology in ways they never imagined." A week later, the Reclaimer was ready for its first test flight. The massive hangar doors opened to the vacuum of space as the vessel moved slowly out of the lunar base. In the command center, tension was high. Colonel Wright stood behind the communications officer, while Grant and Powell monitored the ship's systems. "Reclaimer ready for thrust test." Rodriguez's voice came through clearly. "Proceed with 1/4 power," Wright ordered. The ship moved forward, then accelerated with shocking speed. The tracking systems struggled to keep up. "She's exceeding all projected speeds," Powell exclaimed. "The propulsion system is performing at 320% of expected capacity." Grant watched in amazement as the Reclaimer executed a perfect turn around the moon. "It's evolving beyond our design specs." As the test concluded and the ship returned to base, a message came through from Earth's Deep Space Monitoring Network. The Vexari fleet had entered the outer solar system. They were out of time. Ready or not, humanity's war monster would soon face its first real test. Red alert warnings flashed across screens throughout the lunar base. The Vexari fleet had passed Jupiter's orbit and was moving quickly toward Earth. 7 massive ships, each far larger than the scout vessel they had detected earlier. "They're not even trying to hide their approach," Colonel Wright said grimly. The command center buzzed with activity as military personnel prepared for what might be humanity's most important moment. Dr. Alan Grant studied the tactical display. "No response to our communication attempts." Colonel Martinez shook his head. "Nothing. But they're broadcasting their own message now, to all of Earth." On the main screen appeared a Vexari commander, tall and imposing with the characteristic blue-tinted skin. When it spoke, the translation system converted its clicks and whistles to English. "Humans of Earth, your rapid technological advancement has been observed. Such development indicates a species that will become problematic. We offer you the opportunity to surrender and accept Vexari guidance." Guidance, Wright repeated bitterly. They mean control. Martinez turned to Grant. Is the reclaimer ready? Before Grant could answer, Diane Powell rushed into the command center. We need another week to complete final integrations. We don't have a week, Martins replied. We might not have a day. In the pilot-ready room, Lisa Rodriguez was already in her flight suit. The neural interface implants at the base of her skull glowed faintly blue, the color of Vexeri technology. She had spent more time connected to the reclaimer than anyone else, and sometimes she felt the ship even when she wasn't on board. I'm ready, she told the medical officer checking her vitals. The ship is ready too. The officer looked confused. How would you know that? Rodriguez just smiled. 3 hours later, the reclaimer launched from the lunar base. Though not fully tested, it was humanity's best hope. Additional Earth ships, the best conventional vessels humans could build, joined the defensive formation near Mars orbit. Remember, this is just reconnaissance, Colonel Wright's voice came through the communication system. Assess their capabilities and retreat if necessary. Inside the reclaimer's command center, Rodriguez settled into the neural interface chair. As the connections engaged, she felt the ship respond to her, almost like it was greeting her. Reclaimer ready, she reported, moving to intercept position. The ship accelerated smoothly, quickly outpacing the human escort vessels. Its hybrid engines, part human design, part alien technology, glowed with strange blue-white energy. Back at the lunar base, Grant watched the reclaimer's approach on tactical displays. The ship's energy signature is fluctuating, he noted. It's changing again. Powell studied the readings. The adaptive properties are responding to combat conditions. The ship is preparing itself. The first Vexeri vessel broke from the main fleet, moving to intercept the reclaimer. It was 3 times the size of humanity's creation. Enemy vessel powering weapons, Rodriguez reported calmly, requesting permission to engage defensive systems. Permission granted, Wright replied, her voice tense. The Vexeri ship fired first, a bright beam of energy that should have cut through any human vessel. But when it struck the reclaimer, something unexpected happened. The ship's hull absorbed the energy, glowing brightly for a moment. No damage, Rodriguez reported, sounding surprised herself. The ship adapted. The reclaimer returned fire. Weapons that blended human missile technology with Vexeri energy systems launched from its sides. The Vexeri ship tried to evade, but was hit multiple times. They didn't expect that, Martins said, watching the alien vessel retreat. They underestimated us. The battle continued for nearly an hour. 2 more Vexeri ships joined the fight, but the reclaimer displayed capabilities that shocked everyone, including its creators. It moved with impossible speed. Its defensive systems evolved after each hit, and its weapons grew more effective with each shot. Finally, the Vexeri vessels pulled back to rejoin their main fleet. They're retreating, Rodriguez announced. In the Lunar Command Center, Grant studied new data from the reclaimer systems. The ship's doing things we never designed it to do. The alien materials aren't just working with our technology. They're improving it. Wright looked at him. Is that possible? I think, Grant said slowly, the Vexeri never understood what they left behind. And they certainly never understood what humans could make from scraps. The reclaimer returned to the lunar base looking different than when it had left. Its hull had a new pattern, faint blue lines that seemed to pulse with energy. Repair crews approached cautiously, uncertain what they were seeing. Lisa Rodriguez was the last to leave the ship. Medical staff met her at the airlock, concerned about her extended neural connection during the battle. How do you feel? The lead doctor asked, scanning her with medical equipment. Connected, she replied, her eyes distant. Even now, I can feel the ship. In the main conference room, the United Earth Defense Council reviewed battle footage. The reclaimer had performed beyond all expectations, but the Vexeri fleet remained a serious threat. They'll be back, Colonel Martinez stated flatly. And next time, they won't underestimate us. Dr. Grant studied the latest scans of the reclaimer. The ship is changing. The alien materials are reorganizing themselves, creating new structures and systems. Diane Powell nodded, dark circles under her eyes showing her exhaustion. I've been examining the neural interface data. The connection between Rodriguez and the ship is deeper than we designed. They're learning from each other. Colonel Wright looked concerned. Is that dangerous? I don't think so, Powell replied carefully. But it's unprecedented. The ship seems to be adapting to better work with a human pilot. The Council authorized immediate upgrades to the reclaimer. Earth had perhaps 2 days before the Vexari fleet regrouped and launched their main attack. In the lab, Grant made a critical discovery as he examined samples taken from the ship's hull. Look at this, he said to Powell, pointing to microscopic structures within the alien material. These aren't just adaptive materials. They contain learning algorithms embedded in their molecular structure. Powell leaned closer. You mean the physical material itself can learn? Yes, Grant said with growing excitement. The Vexari built their technology to evolve, but I don't think they understood what would happen when it interacted with human creativity. We're not just using their technology. We're transforming it into something new. Meanwhile, Rodriguez spent hours in simulation, deepening her connection with the reclaimer. Each time she linked with the neural interface, the connection became more intuitive. It's like the ship understands me now, she explained to the engineering team. I don't have to think about controls anymore. I just think about what I want to happen, and it happens. Colonel Martinez developed new battle strategies based on the reclaimer's unique capabilities. Earth's conventional forces would focus on defending the planet, while the reclaimer would take the fight directly to the Vexari. We need to show them that humans are not to be underestimated, he told his officers. 36 hours after the first battle, a message arrived from the Vexari commander. Humans, the translation began. Your resistance is unexpected but futile. Your species has developed too quickly and in dangerous directions. We have encountered such species before. They cannot be allowed to expand into the galaxy. Grant watched the message with the others. They see us as rivals now, he said quietly. Not just primitives. Good, Martins replied. Maybe now, they'll take us seriously. The final upgrades to the reclaimer incorporated the last remaining pieces of alien technology. The ship now bore little resemblance to its original design. Its hull shimmered with energy patterns, and its systems operated in ways that even its creators could no longer fully explain. Rodriguez placed her hand on the ship's hull before the final launch. She could feel it responding to her touch, almost like a living thing. We're ready, she whispered, both to herself and to the ship. In orbit around Earth, the Vexari fleet had assembled in full battle formation. 7 massive ships, armed with weapons that could devastate a planet. Dr. Grant watched from the lunar base as the reclaimer prepared to launch. The ship that humans had built from alien scraps was about to face the ultimate test. They left us broken pieces, he said to Colonel Wright standing beside him. We built a war monster. Wright nodded grimly. Let's hope it's enough. The Vexari fleet moved into position around Earth's moon. 7 massive ships formed a perfect attack formation, their weapons powering up. Behind them, 20 smaller vessels waited in reserve. Earth faced overwhelming odds. In the Lunar Base Command Center, tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. Colonel Wright stood at the main tactical display, directing Earth's conventional forces into defensive positions. They outnumber us 10-1, she said grimly. Colonel Martinez nodded. In ships, yes, but they don't have a reclaimer. The reclaimer waited in its launch bay, looking almost alive with pulsing energy patterns across its hull. Inside, Lisa Rodriguez settled into the neural interface chair. This time, the connection was instant, like slipping into a familiar set of clothes. Rodriguez to command. Ready for launch, she reported. Dr. Grant and Diane Powell monitored the ship's systems from a separate room. The readings were unlike anything they had seen before. The ship's energy levels are off the charts, Powell said with wonder in her voice. It's still evolving. Grant studied the data. Be careful out there, Lisa. We don't fully understand what the Reclaimer has become. I understand it, Rodriguez replied confidently, and it understands me. The massive bay doors opened, and the Reclaimer launched into space, Earth's remaining defense fleet. 50 ships of various sizes moved into formation behind it. Humanity's last stand had begun. The Vexari commander's face appeared on communication screens throughout Earth's ships and bases. Your resistance ends today, the alien stated coldly. Surrender now and some of your species may be preserved. Rodriguez didn't wait for Earth's officials to respond. The Reclaimer accelerated toward the alien fleet with impossible speed, leaving the human escort ships far behind. Reclaimer, maintain position with the fleet, Wright ordered urgently. Negative, Rodriguez replied. The Reclaimer has a better chance alone. The ship knows what to do. The lead Vexari vessel fired a massive energy beam at the approaching human ship. In previous battles, such a weapon would have at least damaged the Reclaimer. But this time, something extraordinary happened. The Reclaimer absorbed the beam entirely, its hull glowing brighter. Then it redirected the energy back at the Vexari ship with twice the power. The alien vessel's shields failed instantly, and it pulled back with severe damage. How did she do that? Martins whispered, watching the tactical display in amazement. Grant shook his head. She didn't. The ship did. It's fully evolved now. The battle unfolded with terrifying speed. The Reclaimer moved between Vexari ships so quickly it seemed to be in multiple places at once. Its weapons had evolved beyond the original design, firing combinations of energy that the alien shields couldn't counter. 3 Vexari ships were disabled within minutes. The others regrouped, trying new tactics, but the Reclaimer anticipated each move before it happened. It's not just a ship anymore, Powell said, watching the readings. The neural connection with Rodriguez has reached complete synchronization. They're thinking as one. Near Earth's moon, the Vexari commander ordered all remaining ships to focus fire on the Reclaimer. 7 energy beams converged on the human vessel at once. For a moment, the Reclaimer disappeared in blinding light. The command center fell silent, everyone fearing the worst. Then the light faded, revealing the Reclaimer, changed again, its hull now a brilliant blue-white, pulsing with power. It hadn't just survived. It had grown stronger. I think I understand now, Grant said softly. The Vexari technology was designed to evolve through challenge, but they never imagined what would happen when paired with human adaptability and creativity. The Reclaimer launched a final attack, moving directly toward the Vexari command ship. Instead of firing weapons, it projected an energy field that disabled the alien vessel's systems. The battle ended abruptly. The remaining Vexari ships powered down their weapons and retreated to a safe distance. A new message came from the Vexari commander. It looked shocked, its 4 eyes blinking rapidly. We misjudged your species, the alien admitted. What you have created from discarded parts exceeds our understanding. Humans will be recognized as equals. We will withdraw. As the alien fleet departed, Lisa Rodriguez guided the Reclaimer back to the lunar base. Earth had survived its greatest challenge. What do we do now? Wright asked, looking at the transformed ship. Grant smiled. Now we build a future, and remember that humanity's greatest strength has always been making something extraordinary from what others discard.